Alright, so it's been about 7 years since my last update. I've had a lot of questions come in on my channel, and I thought it would be appropriate to start this first video with a, really like a long-term update to give you guys an idea of how it's held up, the bike has held up over the past 7 years. So to give you some kind of heads up, I've put about 3,000 miles on the bike over the past 7 years, not a ton, mostly spring, summer, and fall riding. It's seen a few, small showers, but generally, other than that, it's lived here in the garage. It's stored here over the winter, and I've given it regular oil changes. And the only upgrade I can really think of that didn't get a video was I upgraded the speedometer cable, which had broke, so I put a new one in, and that's as far as I got. So what else I'm going to cover in this video are some of the issues and some of the wear and tear it's seen over the past 7 years. And I'll be talking about some potentially upgrades I'm going to be doing that I'm going to look into to produce some new videos on. And towards the end of this video, we're also going to take a look at a new project bike that I picked up that has actually been one of the main reasons that I wanted to get back into doing this. So stay tuned. Let's start with issues. So one of the big questions I get is, how durable has the VHT engine paint been since I applied it 7 years ago? And this is the VHT. It comes in a rattle can. It's the VHT cast iron look that's appropriate to be applied to aluminum and cast iron engines. Now, I've had it overall do a pretty good job. It's got some chips and things here and there, but overall it's done pretty good. The one place where it has not held up, unfortunately, was I had a very slight leak on the coolant pipe here at the water pump that leaked for maybe a couple weeks, and right where it leaked, all the paint has kind of chipped away from the engine block. So I would recommend it, but I would definitely say that you want to keep your block clean of probably both oil and of coolant, because it doesn't seem to hold up well once it gets any little bit of that on it. If I go on to the other side, which I'll show a video of in a second here, you can see that the other side has held up really well, which hasn't been exposed to any contamination or any engine fluids whatsoever. Okay, another issue I had was the original start-stop button broke. So actually, specifically, the starter button broke one day. Actually, not too long after my last video, it just popped off. And I replaced it with the same part from, I believe, Losa Engineering. And the version that I bought, the second version, has held up over the last, I want to say, 6 years and has had no problems. But yeah, for some reason this popped off. It looks actually like, if you look at it on the inside, they upgraded the button in some way that made it more durable. But my version, it just popped off and like fell in the street and was broken and was not able to be saved. So this broke, the start button broke, but it was an easy fix, and this newer version seems to be fine, so I still recommend it. This one's a little harder to see, but I've noticed a slight dripping of oil coming from right around this area here. And it only drips for maybe a minute or two after turning the bike off after a good long ride. So a short ride, it won't do it. But after a good long ride when the engine's good and hot, I'll notice a few drips of oil coming off the engine. Like I said, right around here. What I think it might be is there's a small grommet for the shifter right here that I believe has been known to leak. So I'm wondering if possibly it's leaking just a little bit when the engine's hot and the oil's thin. And once the engine cools off and the oil thickens back up, it stops leaking. So I'm definitely going to investigate that and throw a few ideas at it. I've gone around already and tightened up all of the case bolts, which you can see here, and so on. None of them seem to be leaking or loose. The gasket seems to be fine, so I suspect that the leak might be coming from that shifter grommet. So we'll see. The last significant change that I made was to the exhaust, which is angled down more than it used to be. I did have it angled up, I think about 15 degrees, which I thought looked cool, but it ultimately made the bike a little too loud because it pointed the exhaust upward instead of outward. And I also thought after a while it just didn't look right. So I removed that angle and just have it going as straight out as I can now instead. I think it makes for a better look, and it makes the noise from the bike a little bit more manageable. Alright, so one of the things I got a lot of comments about was the battery box that I installed. And what's in there are most of the electronics and a small, I believe, lithium-ion battery. I'll post a link to the video and to what I used to set it up in the comments. But there was a lot of comments about how the battery wouldn't last in this position, how that's harming electronics. I have had zero issues with it so far. So I may do another review video down the road to show how I've set it up. I made a few minor tweaks to it just in terms of plugs and wiring to make it a little more organized. But I would definitely be interested in doing a review video to show sort of the battery box 2.0 that I have set up in there as well. Alright, so future ideas that I want to work on. Besides doing some of the repairs and clean up here and there and the upgrades, I want to focus on updating the instrument cluster. Right now it's original. I'd like to simplify it and see what I can do to just make it a little better. I'd like to maybe look into upgrading the discs to the double disc brakes, potentially a fork upgrade as well, and let's start with that. We'll see where we go from there. Okay, so this is a 2009 Honda CMX250C. So it's a 250cc air-cooled motorcycle, obviously. Picked it up for a decent deal from a friend who left it sit in their shed for a few years, didn't really ride it that much. It's got low miles, 2,500 miles or so. Said it doesn't run. Doesn't know why, and I'm going to figure it out. So first few videos are going to be me going through the whole bike, getting it running again, giving it a good once over, fixing things that it needs to get it roadworthy, and then, I might take you all on a little test drive. We'll see. I also noticed that the exhaust seems to be fairly rusted out, so I may take a look at replacing the exhaust with at least a better quality stock exhaust for now. I do plan on making this a little bit of a project bike down the road, so I will be doing some upgrades to it and post some videos for all of the different upgrades I'm going to do. But right now, the focus is to get it running, figure out what's going on with it, clean it up, make it good again, get it back to its former glory, and enjoy it. So yeah, as you can tell, after looking at my channel, I love small bikes. So this is going to be a fun little project, and looking forward to it. Alright guys, well, I'm glad to be back, and I want to say that I definitely appreciate all the comments and all of the views over the last 7 years. I did not expect these videos to continue to get as much attention and interest as they have. So I really appreciate that. So looking forward to making some new videos for both the original Moto Fugazi CX500 and my new CMX250 Rebel. So if you have comments or suggestions for future videos or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I definitely do read them, and I will do my best to either follow up or post a video about them in the near future. Again, I appreciate everybody's interest in these projects, and it's one of the reasons why I'm back doing them again, because I really enjoyed this, and I definitely love working on motorcycles and sharing the journey with you all. So thanks again for watching. I've missed you all, and I definitely look forward to putting together some new videos and posting them very soon. See you guys.